All right, David.
The defense seemed to have a pretty good day in practice yesterday. It's one practice, but when you're trying to come back from what they had last year, how much does that mean to build confidence and get a good feel about what you're doing?
I mean, every day is about stacking success, and I think it definitely starts. When you look at just pure production, defense was clearly more productive than the offense yesterday, and the focus really for the offense was we had our mental errors were high, or our missed assignments were high, and that's something you always fight through during these install practices. But I thought the defense did an excellent job making plays on the ball. And I think it's like anything in this game, it's about competition. So the competition will be heightened today because obviously the offense didn't feel great about their performance yesterday, and defense understands that too. When the defense talked about this particular topic in their meeting today. They took a step yesterday, and the most important thing is to try to take another step today, and especially after as much production as they had yesterday. So it's all healthy. This is all part of a healthy, competitive environment. So I love it. I think this is what our team needs. We need this time together. We need the competitive practices to be heightened each and every day, whatever the motivation that is needed that brings the field. Our field work is the most important part of our day, and I'm looking forward to a healthy, competitive practice today.
We saw a lot of energy from the defense yesterday. When you think about your defense, and particularly your secondary, what's the balance of the swagger you want to see with them without it turning into overconfidence?
Well, there's lines and everything. It's I think the biggest challenge in my view, especially as a head coach, is the handling success. So defense had some success yesterday, so let's see how they handle it. So swagger is awesome, confidence is awesome, and I think if we ever want to err on our football team, we want to definitely err on the side of too much versus not enough.
Obviously, you're not with Dak Prescott all off season, but how much work has he gotten with the pads and some of the rib guards so that he has a little bit more mobility out there now that the pads are coming back on?
Great question. I couldn't give you a number or timing. I mean, he has a very good regimen, both in Dallas and he spent some time out here in California. So I think he'll be ready to go.
The pads coming on today, how were you able to control the marine layer?
Say it again.
The pads coming on today, how were you able to control the marine layer because it's gone?
I mean, really, the marine layer, I've only really seen the marine layer factor one day since we've been here. So that's why we're really looking at those 8 a.m. practices. I'm kidding.
It's like Gallup started to hit it yesterday. Did he come out of that okay?
He's actually, Michael's going to miss practice today. He tweaked his ankle, so Michael will not practice. But I think long term he's fine.
You have to remind him
because of what happened.
Yes, I think that's when it occurred. Yes.
You have to remind him it's still just practice, or did you like the enthusiasm and the energy?
Well, I mean that's the red zone. It's competitive and it's unfortunate, but we just got to try to be as safe as we possibly can.
How much will Zach do today? I don't know if he did a lot of team stuff yesterday, but you got pads on. I don't know if you want to
80%. He'll be in there, so he's scheduled to go full. So
you got a lot of young receivers.
Yes.
Two of your top guys obviously won't be practicing today. How do you evaluate some of the young players, especially a lot of rookies?
I think especially young receivers in this particular group, it's the ability to play the X, the Z, and the F. I mean that's the priority of being able to interchange, and I think Noah and Cedric are great examples of that because that's how you increase your value on the team, and then another big component of that is special teams. So I think all those guys have a chance, and I think we've all been here. You see some really positive moments and things that the guys have done in the first 4 practices, but today's it's a different climate. So I think this is when guys will start to separate themselves.
a lot about Connor Williams. How's McGovern look? Because obviously he's got to get some reps too.
I mean, Connor McGovern, coming out of last year was clearly our most improved offensive lineman, and down the stretch, if I recall, graded out probably as high or the highest. So, just love the way he came on last year, and that's what you're looking for. So we feel like we have an excellent rotation inside. Connor Williams is doing a good job in his center reps. Tyler's really taking command of it too, from the declaration standpoint and the things we're asking him to do. So, but Connor McGovern's, he's made a big move. I'm very, very pleased the way Connor has picked it up.
How we've seen Schultz and Jarwin as receivers, but how have they progressed as blockers, and will that affect how much 12 personnel you use with how they can block, the run game?
Well, definitely. I mean, if you look at just basic, football from a formation standpoint, when you run the ball to a particular side, whether it's a two-man surface or a three-man surface, but the ability to put two, tight ends on the line of scrimmage to create a four-man surface, the ability to run the ball no matter what the defense lines up in, we need some more of that. Frankly, we spent a lot of time in 11 personnel last year. It's obviously doesn't really give you the opportunity to be more in what I would call a run-it-run situation. So the 12 personnel is important because we need to line up and run the football regardless of what the defense is in. I think in 11, you can have a tendency to play a little bit too much chess match and you're checking runs, the passes, and so forth. So, but yeah, I have great confidence in the way they block.
As in terms of receiving, though, what's the skill set that Schultz has that allows Dak to have so much trust in him?
Body language. I mean, he's excellent. He's very precise on how he runs his routes. He's very easy to read. I think when you see a quarterback, especially the tight ends, when you see quarterbacks and tight ends connect, it's the tight ends that you can throw to with the same anticipation as a receiver, and that's so important because obviously, a bigger target in the middle of the field. Obviously, I think just the mathematics of that gives you opportunity to increase your completion percentage. So, I think the ability to have multiple tight ends that can operate in the middle of the field definitely gives us the ability to be, higher completion percentage offense.
On the topic of tight ends, how has Sean McCune done going to his second year?
Great off season. I can't say enough about our rookie class. We got a bunch of guys, and I just want to see it, go to another level here out on the padded practices. But I would definitely put him in the category of taking the second year leap. He's done a great job with his body in the weight room and so forth. His complete understanding of what we're doing offensively, but you'll see him compete to be a primary player on special teams. So he's had a heck of an offseason.
Schultz, an example of a guy who maybe exceeded expectations based on what you had seen and limited opportunities from him in practice. I mean, once he got it, he really.
I'm probably the wrong coach to ask because really Dalton's been super consistent from the day I arrived here. So, I can't really give you an evaluation on how it was prior to that. But he's been extremely consistent. He's very instinctive, obviously very bright. I love the way he played, and just talking with Blake after the season, Dalton raised the bar in the tight end room, and I think anytime you have a Hall of Fame player that retires, and the year after, you want to see how that room responds, and I think our tight end room, and I think Lunda did a great job in there, but I just really love the whole operation of the tight end room, and Dalton gets a lot of credit for that.
How does Trevon Diggs raise the competition in the cornerbacks room? I know you guys didn't want to use him as much as you had to yet last year. How much has that helped him when you see him at camp this year?
I mean, just the way he plays, number one. The way he practices, I think you can see it right away how competitive, and his ability to make plays on the ball, I think is at the highest level. Super instinctive, has a good feel for it out there. He's just got to stay healthy. That's the only thing that he really ran into last year. But when I think of Trevon, the last practice of our training camp last year, I've never seen a rookie. I think he had 4 interceptions in the practice that day, two of them to end the 2-minute drill. So that's the kind of impact, impression that he's made on us from day one.
Mike, if you had it your way at the end of the year, would you be more of a running team or a passing team?
Oh, I want to be a winning team, and it's really. I think I talked about this in the opening press conference. We need to play better complementary football. We don't. I've called plays for a lot of years in this league. It's a lot more fun to call passes than runs, but that doesn't always equate to winning. So, you have to run the football. You have to be able to run the football when you want to run the football. You got to run the football when you need to run the football, and everybody in the stadium knows you're going to run the football. So that's something that we need to, is a focus for us, not only in situational football but also in normal down and distance. So, people like to throw out the word balance. I think balance is a term when you look at the end of the journey. That's when you look at the numbers. But balance is picking up for one another, week in and week out. So I mean, there's times where we may run it 40 times, and I think if you're looking for a number, and I'm not going to give you one because you're going to hold me to it all the time. But there's a number that I like to be above, just as far as when I look at the makeup of our team and how we can play complementary football, offense and defense. So. We don't want to drop back and throw it all day in normal down the distance. I understand the weapons we have, and that's the way to go. But especially now, because the defense needs it. Obviously, run defense is the primary focus for us. So we have to train, tilted more to running the football and stopping the run in training camp, because that needs to be a strength, and it was not last year.
What's fun about calling a pass?
Well, it's the old quarterback coach. I mean, if the ball's in the air, everybody says, three things happen and two of them are negative. I don't look at it that way. I think it's just more fun. I mean, I don't know. I mean, they sound better too. They're longer calls, more sexy verbiage, so.
About that number that you don't want to share, is that on an individual game, or is that over the course of a season that when you look back you want the number to be at that?
Well, I think that's part of your game plan. I think if you want to draw up a perfect number, you like to be north of 30 rushes a game. I mean, if you said, okay, and if you look at the historical of that, obviously, giving a ball away plays into that, but that's a healthy number, because time of possession plays into that. Defense is not on the field as long, but also the NFL is definitely tilted more now than ever towards points. You got to score points, so so your point production is a big part of that, and we have the ability to throw the ball and get the ball. We got excellent perimeter players too, so it's really finding the balance in ball distribution. I think that's more important, because throwing the ball on a wide route to a back to me is not a whole lot different than pitching it to him on a sweep. I mean, you're really accomplishing the same thing of how you're stressing the defense, in some ways. So. And the fact that one is a run and one is a pass, I think that's all part of mathematics, and statistics are important, but I always look at them as a gauge. The only absolute that I really care about is the win.
When you talk longer calls, sexier verbiage, and some of the passing plays, what was your favorite one you called over the years?
Oh, shoot. Well, it's not sexy, so I'll just say that. No, I don't. We have a new language, so I don't want to bring up old language. Yeah, good question.
What does Brad Basham bring to this defense, and how do you see him fitting in with your versatility and what you want to do up front?
I think you're going to really feel him today in the padded work. I think he's that kind of player. He just brings a different energy, physicalness. That's what you see so far, but this will be our first time, competing in pads today. But I love the way he fits into the D-line room, the defensive room. So he brings a lot of juice to the workplace every day. So he's a really, I think he can play more techniques than I think I realized until you see him move in person. So he's an excellent addition for us.
Work Hooker into practice here now that he's officially signed?
He'll be on. We'll pace him. We won't go full ball. We just it's obviously been a while. He's coming off of the injury, so we'll take it slow to be more precise.
Jordan Lewis didn't practice yesterday. What is he dealing with? Will he be back out there today? Or?
Yeah, Jay Lou's going to probably be limited today. I'm going to see how his work with Britt went today. So. Yeah, nothing major. Yeah.
Will anybody else be held out of practice besides Gallup?
No.